Hi there, everyone. It's Sifty from Extreme Returns. Thank you very much for joining me for another 5-minute daily fix. Before we get into it, my name is 𝙋𝙧𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙀𝙧𝙤 I'm on eToro under Extreme Returns. I'm by background a chartered management accountant, work for Unilever and Mars. I have also done headhunting and recruitment consultancy, set up my own estate agency very successfully, and car hire business as well. If you go onto YouTube, type in Etoro My Story, cool cartoon, 1.5 minutes long. And here's an interview with me being featured on the BBC. I've been on the Independent, Evening Standard as well. Got my own channel as well. It's called Extreme Returns. Small but growing community there. Do consider subscribing to my channel, but also copying me as well. I've got 38 copiers at the moment, and the results are fairly good. 13% year to date. It was more than 15% in January, 15% in February. Markets dipped. They've bounced back. And let's get into it now. So here's the 5 minutes starting now. So one of my favorite writers, Ben Carlson, and he writes a blog called A Wealth of Common Sense. He says the most important investment factor of the 21st century is the wealth inequality, which is the driving force behind much of what's going on. And I'm not going to go into his article, but it does start with the Beeple NFT, which went for $70 million. If you haven't seen that, it's crazy. Look it up. It's a JPEG basically for $70 million. Here, he's given a very interesting graph about the top 1% owning nearly, well, it's 36% of the assets. And the bottom 50% owning less than 10%. And he's broken it down in terms of real estate, etc., private business, and so on. Do have a look at it if you have more time. One of his other articles is entitled 4 Things Everyone Needs to Know About the Markets. And I'm not going to go into detail, but look at the graphs, very interesting. So this one is the United States in 1900, and you can see the vast majority of the industry weightings were railways, and the same in the UK as well. Fast forward 121 years, and now it's a huge range of so many other companies, technology, industrials, and health being the largest. In the UK, it's industrials, oil and gas, banks, and health. Very interesting, very revealing. It tells you how fast things change. And also within this, he talks about how stocks beat the bond markets, which we know all the time anyway. One of the things I wanted to come across is, fintech. So I subscribe to a newsletter called The Hustle. Now in this, it says Stripe just became Silicon Valley's most precious gem. Patrick and John Collison have got the luck of the Irish. It says the Irish brothers' digital payment brainchild Stripe has reportedly raised $600 million at a 95 billion valuation. Now they've raised it from existing investors like Baillie Gifford and Allianz and other VCs, and that's how they valued it. That's how much they valued it at. It's still not listed yet on the stock exchange, but it will be, I guess, not in the too far distance. And the reason people are going crazy over it is because it's the most valuable private company ever to come out of Silicon Valley. 95 billion, I can't imagine that kind of money. Now, 90% of US adults have bought from companies that use Stripe. The company counts Amazon, Salesforce, Microsoft, Shopify, Uber, and Zoom amongst its customers. At least 50 of these customers process $1 billion plus on Stripe annually. I'm not going to go into all of it, but there are some other snippets as well, which were quite interesting. This one, China's regulators are telling Alibaba to get rid of assets from its extensive media portfolio in a bid that likely aims to limit the conglomerate's influence on public opinion. India wages war on Bitcoin. India is planning to fine anyone found trading, mining, or holding digital assets like Bitcoin. Xiaomi gets a win. The technology giant gets a pass after a federal judge blocked the enforcement of the US investment ban on the company, citing lack of evidence. Here's a little light-hearted news. The Zoom escaper is a tool, and maybe the greatest invention ever, that helps you leave Zoom meetings by feeding the sound of dogs, construction, and babies crying into your mic. Here's a section on cloud companies, and the title is After a Pandemic Boom, Cloud Companies Are Now Collectively Worth More Than $2 trillion. The definition of cloud companies is quite vague here, but we'll see that in a moment. In its latest State of the Cloud report, Bessemer Venture Partners, BVP, relayed stats on how well cloud-based software firms have fared during the pandemic. The combined market value of 60 plus publicly traded cloud companies tracked by BVP Nasdaq Emerging Cloud Index is more than 2 trillion. 186 billion is the amount of funding poured into private cloud companies in 2020. And no doubt some of those will be listing. The top 5 cloud companies, PayPal, Adobe, Salesforce, Shopify, and Zoom, are now worth more than 1 trillion on their own. And Shopify is my largest holding. I'm not going to go into any more detail with that section. But there was another interesting part further down, see if I can find it. Trends. No, it was in another article I was reading. Okay, I think that's enough for today. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening in. Do consider copying me, and also my wife as well, who has got the only Asian fund, as far as I can tell, on the whole eToro platform under the Popular Investment Program. Her name is Adiba, and her stats are okay, given the market volatility. She's got 10 copiers, and her portfolio is full of really interesting companies, which will be the backbone of the Far East. And a lot of them are encroaching upon America as well. So you've got new technology, Sea, Baidu, Nintendo, Samsung, etc. Also, my eldest son is a doctor. His stats are even better. It's better than all of us. March, 9.3%. And his portfolio is full of companies that make the world a better place. So gene editing, natural foods, Peloton, and so on. Do consider copying him as well. Thank you, everybody. This has been your 5-minute daily fix. It's Iftiuddin. Take care and stay safe.